This is the story of a cold and lonely coastal town where the sea waves keep reminding everyone how harsh life can be and how fragile a person really is. The movie Manchester by the Sea from 2016 is a deep drama that touches the heart deeply. The film won several awards because of its raw honesty, and Casey Affleck's performance as the main character earned him the Oscar for Best Actor. The movie begins by showing a man who always looks completely broken and deeply sad. His name is Lee Chandler, played by Casey Affleck. Lee lives in a small, dark basement apartment in an old building near Boston. The apartment is so tiny and gloomy that just looking at it makes your heart hurt. He works as the building's handyman there, meaning he's the janitor. He carries things to people's apartments and sometimes fixes pipes, but he never talks to anyone. When people try to talk to him, he gets rude right away. In one scene, he's working at a woman's house. They argue about something and he just says, "I can't help you," and slams the door shut. He sits alone in a bar drinking beer. Sometimes he starts pointless fights too. Once while sitting in a bar, two guys keep staring at him, so he gets into a fight with them and ends up getting beaten badly. Lee has no friends in his life and no happiness at all. His days are just work and sleep. You must be wondering why he's like this. Well, the movie slowly reveals the whole story. One day while Lee is heading home from work, he gets a phone call. His older brother, Joe Chandler, has had a heart attack and is admitted, and this call is from the hospital. Lee quickly grabs his car and drives to Manchester by the Sea. This is a small town right by the sea where both brothers grew up and spent their early days. When Lee reaches the hospital, the doctor tells him that Joe has passed away. Lee was already broken from his past memories, and now he gets hit with the shock of losing his brother too. But he doesn't cry. He finishes things at the hospital and goes straight to his 16-year-old nephew Patrick. Patrick is playing school hockey. Lee takes him outside and tells him that his father is no longer in this world. Patrick doesn't understand at first and then starts crying loudly. If you've seen the movie, you know this scene feels so real that you can feel the pain yourself. Funeral arrangements start, but there's a problem. The ground is frozen because of all the snow, so they can't bury Joe's body until spring comes. So the body has to stay in cold storage. Both Patrick and Lee feel even more heartbroken hearing this. Now Patrick needs a guardian to move forward in life because he's still just a teenager. The next day, Lee gets a call from Joe's lawyer and is asked to come to the office. Then something happens that shocks everyone. It turns out Joe had named Lee as Patrick's legal guardian in his will. That means Lee now has to take full responsibility for Patrick. His school, his upbringing, his expenses, everything falls on Lee. Lee, who is already shattered from his past, takes this responsibility very seriously, but feels he's not capable of it. He's shocked. He tells the lawyer that "I'm not ready for this," but Joe had clearly written that Lee is the best choice. He moves into Joe's house, which is an old wooden home built right by the sea. After so long, coming back to this town brings back old memories for him, and here the story goes into flashbacks to show Lee's painful past, which is heartbreaking. It shows that Lee used to live in Manchester before. He had a beautiful wife named Randy, and they had 3 small children. His family was perfect, and he was very happy with them. In another scene, he remembers his brother too, when Lee and Joe used to go fishing on the boat, laughing and joking. Joe had a boat named after his wife, and one night everything gets destroyed. Lee gets drunk at a party, comes home and feels the house is cold, and lights a fire in the fireplace for the kids' comfort, but he forgets to put up the safety screen. He goes out for something, comes back, remembers he forgot the screen, and when he returns, he sees the house on fire. All 3 daughters burned to death. Randy wasn't home that night. She was out, so her life is saved. Lee rushes into the burning fire to save his innocent girls, and when the firefighters arrive, they pull him out. He screams in pain, cries and tells the police, "Please take me to jail because I killed my innocent daughters." The police investigate and say it was just an accident and Lee didn't commit murder. But Lee keeps blaming himself and never forgives himself after that day. On the other side, his wife Randy is also in shock and anger, blames Lee too and holds him responsible. Randy leaves him and humiliates him a lot and finally takes a divorce. One day Lee goes to the police station for questioning and tries to kill himself. He grabs a gun from an officer and puts it to his head, but the officer stops him. After that day, Lee leaves Manchester forever and never comes back, takes meaningless jobs and ruins his life completely. Now the story comes back to the present and we see that Lee and Patrick living in Joe's house. Patrick is a normal teenager who does hockey practice, is part of a music band and spends free time with his girlfriends. One day he tells Lee that whenever he goes to meet his girlfriend, her mom sits right next to them. So today he wants Lee to come along to the girlfriend's house and keep her mom busy talking so they can sit together. Lee agrees and goes with him, but since he doesn't like talking to people much anymore, he doesn't give proper answers to Patrick's girlfriend's mom. And finally, she gets up to check on Patrick and her daughter, which makes Patrick angry. On the way back, he tells Lee, "Why are you so weird? Can't you talk normally to people?" And Lee says, "This is how I am." The story moves forward and Lee doesn't want to stay in Manchester. He tells Patrick to come with him to Boston, but Patrick says, "Don't take me to Boston. I'll stay here." Lee drops him at school every day and cooks food at home, but inside he's completely broken. One day Patrick tries to meet his real mother Elise and takes Lee to her house. Elise used to be an alcoholic woman and left Joe when Patrick was a kid. Now she's sober. She goes to church and lives with a new man named Jeffrey. Lee drops him there and leaves. Patrick meets them for lunch, but the talk is very little and awkward. And after some time, he comes back home with Lee. The next day, Jeffrey emails Patrick saying, from now on, whenever Patrick comes to meet his mom, he'll stay in between during the meetings. Patrick feels really bad hearing this. He says bad things about his mom, but Lee explains to him that his mom isn't a bad woman. Now fights start between them and Patrick says, "You're trying to leave me. That's why you're praising my mom." Lee tells him, "I'll stay anyway until your school ends and then go back." To make things better, Lee takes Patrick on the boat and they go fishing. Time passes and a little love starts growing between them. Both sit on the boat looking at the sea. Patrick shares memories of his dad and Lee listens quietly, and for the first time there's a sense of peace between them. Like life is moving on despite the grief. One day while going home, Lee suddenly runs into his past memory, his ex-wife Randy on the street. Now Randy has remarried and has a son too. She sees Lee after so many years and starts crying. Randy says, "In that bad time, instead of supporting you, I left you alone and treated you very badly. I'm sorry, please forgive me and come back to me." Lee meets his old life partner after so long, whom he loved so much. Seeing her cry breaks him, but he controls himself. Randy asks him to go for lunch. Lee talks very little. Randy tells him, "I can't see you dying in this condition," and she keeps crying the whole time and asking for forgiveness. Tears come to Lee's eyes and he says, "There's nothing left in me to give you now," and he leaves crying. Casey Affleck performed it so from the heart that it deserved an Oscar. That same night, with a broken heart, Lee goes to the bar and starts drinking. There he gets into a fight with two people and gets badly beaten in his drunk state. And then Joe's friend George sees him there, picks him up, and takes him home. Lee had been hiding so much in his heart for a long time but never cried openly. But today Lee cries badly for the first time. After meeting Randy, Lee realizes he can't stay in Manchester anymore. He says, "I can't see Randy breaking like this." George encourages him and he calms down a bit. Then he tells George and his wife to adopt Patrick so Patrick can stay in his town, and they agree. The next day he tells Patrick that he'll hand him over to George and go back. Patrick breaks down because now his heart had started connecting with Lee and he didn't want to leave him. Patrick asks Lee, "Why can't you stay with me in this town?" Lee answers that this town has very hard memories for me. "I remember my daughters, my wife and my happy life which I can't bear. That's why I can't stay here." Then they both get very emotional and Lee hugs Patrick. Next morning everyone goes to Joe's lawyer and George is now Patrick's new guardian. Now spring comes and the snow melts and Joe's body that was waiting gets buried. Lee tells Patrick he's looking for an apartment in Boston with an extra room, so Patrick can come stay with him whenever he wants on weekends. Now we see the last scene in which final meeting between Lee and Patrick happens. They're fishing on Joe's boat. Patrick tries to make him laugh and there's very little talk between them. Lee smiles lightly for the first time truly, and the movie ends.